Okay, so in this video, we are going to find the lengths of the missing sides of the triangle using trig. We have to remember our three basic trig functions, that the sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse, the cosine of theta is adjacent over hypotenuse, and the tangent of theta is opposite over adjacent. So each function or each triangle, we're going to identify opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse based on the angle. So for the first one, the 32-degree angle, 11 is my opposite and x is my hypotenuse. So based on this, opposite over hypotenuse, well, that's my sine function. So the sine of 32 is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. Make sure that your calculator is in degree mode. If it's not in degree mode, you're going to end up getting the wrong answer anyway. So do make sure of that. Because I have a variable in the denominator, this is going to be a two-step problem. I'm going to multiply by x because I need to get the variable out of my denominator. So I have x times the sine of 32 is equal to 11. Divide by the sine of 32. So 11 divided by divided by the sine of 32, so x is equal to 20.8. For my next problem, I'm going to identify my triangle with opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse based on my 75-degree angle. X is my opposite, 21 is my adjacent. The trig function that deals with opposite and adjacent is tangent. So the tangent of 75 degrees is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. Because my variable is in the numerator, not the denominator, this is a one-step problem. I'm going to multiply by 21 to get 21 out of the denominator. 21 times the tangent of 75 tells me that x is equal to 78.4. For my next problem, I'm going to identify with opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. X is my adjacent. 30 is my hypotenuse. The trig function that deals with adjacent and hypotenuse is my cosine. So I'm going to set up the cosine of 30 is equal to the adjacent over my hypotenuse. Because I have the variable in my numerator, this is a one-step problem. So I'm going to multiply 30 times both sides. So I have 30 times the cosine of 23, and that's going to give me 27.6. For this next problem, we're going to label the triangle with opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse based on the 41-degree angle. So 15 is my opposite, x is my adjacent. So this tells us that we're going to use the tangent function. So the tangent of 41 is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. We're going to multiply both sides by x. So I get x times the tangent of 41 is equal to 15. Divide by the tangent of 41. And 15 divided by the tangent of 41 is going to give us 17.3. For the next one, I'm going to label the triangle based on my 64-degree angle. So 3 is my adjacent, x is my hypotenuse. The trig function that deals with adjacent and hypotenuse is my cosine. So the cosine of 64 is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Multiply both sides by x. I get x times the cosine of 64 is equal to 3. Divide by the cosine of 64. 3 divided by the cosine of 64 tells me x is equal to 6.8. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to identify the triangle with opposite adjacent hypotenuse based on my 18-degree angle. 25 is my opposite, x is my hypotenuse. The trig function that deals with opposite and hypotenuse is my sine. So the sine of 18 is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. Multiply both sides by x. I get x times the sine of 18 is equal to 25. Divide by the sine of 18. And I get x is equal to 80.9. And this is how we use sine, cosine, and tangent to find the lengths of the sides of my right triangle.